Welcome to the Women Who AI podcast, the show where bold women come to the front row. I'm your host, Kelley Tenny, founder of Women Who AI, and every week I'm bringing you real conversations with the women who are building, automating, and making history in the AI space. Hi there, everybody. Welcome. Kelley Tenny here with Women Who AI. I am here with the amazing Jenna Larson. Jenna, thanks so much for being with us.
So happy to be here. Anytime I get to support women, I'm in. Can't
I
wait.
know you are. And if you guys haven't seen Jenna before, she's been on a lot of our Women Who AI summits, and she actually has one of the few Women Who AI approved tools that we actually talk about and push out. And that's why I've decided to bring her on here with us today. Because when I think about women who are making history, especially in the AI space, Jenna, you are the first one that comes to mind in that realm of SaaS platforms and like SaaS creation and technology. If you guys don't know, Jenna is the brains behind both GroupTrack and ANA. And Jenna, I want to have you share a little bit because one of the things that I think is really unique about you and being someone who's behind two of not only the most, I think, successful AI platforms that are going to withstand a lot of the trends and the up and downs of platforms that are appearing and then disappearing, but they're actually, I mean, I'm going to say they're actually useful, but they're more than just useful, right? They're like actually super powerful tools that I think are like one of their kind. There's anything that's out there. So Jenna, share a little bit about the immense just tech background that you have had before creating tools like GroupTrack.
I have a zero tech background. That is like the best part of all of it. Like sometimes I'm like, sitting in rooms, which by the way, if I'm in a SaaS room, it's men, right? And I'm sitting there like looking around and I'm like, okay, these are all coder genius, like very technical people. And so I'm like completely the minority in the fact that I know nothing about actual tech. And then secondarily, a woman sitting here. So that's like the best part of all of it. I'm kind of like, who am I? What happened here?
Yeah,
And
because what did you do before GroupTrack?
so I was in corporate forever, never thought I would leave. And then I left that and created a coaching company, which was amazing. But one day I was driving and I had an idea and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to build this tool. And really the reason was because I had a problem, right? I was teaching people how to get leads and, retain their customers online. And all of our clients were using social media. And it was just like they were losing leads. It was such a disaster. And so, like, honestly, both SaaSes, but even more so, GroupTrack was built because I had a problem and I just needed a solution. And so I was like, $1 million idea. Called a guy who I was actually privately coaching in his software company. And I was like, you've got to build this. And he was like, well, that's impossible. And so that was really sad because, of course, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm a genius. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, oh my God, I did it. And then GroupTrack was born. So it was kind of we joke that we have like $1 million accidental SaaS company.
$1 million accidental SaaS company, right? So, when we look at we're combining two things here, right? Because obviously we're wrapping up Women's History Month. And we're in, I think, our own kind of stage of creating new history in the world of AI.
Yeah.
And I I was wondering, and this is something that I've talked about on some of the interviews, when it comes to like doing something that actually makes like a stamp in history, like when we're actually talking about like history in the making. The question was like, do you think that it can happen accidentally, kind of like what you've talked about? Or is there always some kind of clarity or intention behind what led to that action that actually is making history? And when I look at your tools, I think those tools are historical. Like I said, they are the first of their kind. They solve problems where there was nothing else like that out there. We see a lot of tools that pop up that are similar to other tools that maybe take an idea from one tool and combine it from the other. But both of the tools that you've created, legit, I'm like, where did she even come up with that?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing similar to it on the market. So How much intention and clarity do you think was behind just your decisions to even raise your hand and say, like, I want to try to create this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think every single thing that we have done is because we have listened to the voice of the customer.
Mm.
Like the people that are experiencing the pains, the frustrations, all of that stuff, we just paid attention, right? And frankly, in my first business, I was one of those people that was like, oh my God, I can't manage all the leads in my DMs or in my Facebook group and on my profile and all the things. And, funny enough, Anna, for those of you guys who don't know about Anna AI, it's literally a research tool that goes into social media and it reads all of the comments and all the things and it pulls out the voice of the customer, what words they're using, what trend, all of the things that people are talking about. We simply take that information and we're like, okay, these people are telling us they're a problem. They're telling us what solutions they tried and didn't work. And then it's telling us, well, you should build this instead. And so now I have the tool. If I
Mm.
had had that back in the day before GroupTrack was built, that would have been really nice because I did that work manually to really understand and inform what we built with GroupTrack. Now Anna is going to help everybody else really uncover those needs and build solutions that make sense and really have the market demand. So I think, what I have just done naturally, which is like, I will never build something unless I have validated that is an insane demand. And I did it just manually reading and talking to people. And I had enough clients that I was like, oh my gosh, this is it.
Mhm.
Now we just have a tool to kind of do that. So I do absolutely believe that there was intention. We joke about the accident, but 100% it was built on truth and, really understanding the trends.
And I think when you say the word accident, what I would assume is that like you didn't realize you were building $1 million, potentially what's going to be a multi-million dollar
Yeah.
SaaS platform. Like that part was the accident
Oh, yeah.
because you organically built it out of need, not out of how can I make money off of something that I'm going to create.
100%. And I think that's it, right? Like when we built it, it was just based off this really tiny idea. And we've been so lucky to have all these amazing entrepreneurs that are like, can you build this? Can you build this? Can it go this way? And we're like, okay, yes. So yeah, I mean, the first thought was this. And, it's been incredible because not only have we've converted well over $4 million on this with no ads, low ticket offer. Like it's pretty incredible. But even more than that, when I think about like, we had clients who did like 500,000 in a week using the tool. So to think about like, not only is it and changed our lives with the tool, but like how many people have been able to get their offer in front of the market and make sales, like that is where it like really feels, so fulfilling.
Yeah. And what do you think? I mean, as you shared earlier, you go to these tech conferences for like SaaS platforms, you look around, you're like, okay, like maybe I'm the only female um founder or creator, which I'm sure you're not the only, but I'm sure you're one of just a handful.
Yeah.
Where do you think where do you think women can make the biggest impact in AI when it comes to just kind of that sense of innovation? And maybe the innovation isn't always building a SaaS platform. But, there's a lot of people in AI right now. They're self-proclaimed experts. Everybody's an expert, which I believe nobody is an expert in AI, especially at this point. But like, where do you think women are going to come in with their impact in terms of just playing any kind of role as a leader or as an innovator in the realm of AI?
This might be actually controversial, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep the human
Mm.
in AI. So as much as we're trying to like progress and have, AI take over all of these things, I think what is unique about women is the empathy and the human and the relationship piece that is really important to us. And so I think that while, right now everybody's flexing so hard that like, I don't even do my job. I don't talk to people, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
All these agents are doing it for me. I actually think pretty soon the flux is gonna be, I did this myself.
Mhm.
I still am using my creativity. And so one of the things that's been really important to us in our company as we're building these tools and adding AI and building AI tools is we always want to keep the human in it. And I think that is where we say, okay, how can we use AI? How can we use automation? How can we use tools to amplify our voice and our human connection and relationships more, not replace it? So I think it's gonna be really important that women are in the room because I think just inherently we bring that where men are a little bit more like I want you to do no work and, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be vital that the women are there kind of fighting for that piece that is, trying to be replaced, to be honest.
I think you're right. I just especially with, like, OpenClaw, which is a whole other conversation, which I think just I'll sidetrack on that really quickly. I think the other thing that women have is this sense of, let's just call it, like, our mama bearness in terms of, like, safety and caution, and things like that. There's a survey out right now in the Women Who AI community. If you haven't taken it, I have to send it to you, which is really about, like, how are you using AI and what are your concerns, right? And I'm getting a lot of, not kickback, but I'm getting a lot of question, like, around, like, why are you worried about our concerns? But where most surveys, most people doing trying to are like, "How are you using AI? What do you want it to help you with?" Right? Like, "What could you automate?" Because they're trying to figure out, like, what their angle is, and I'm just actually wondering, what are women concerned about? Because I do think we have different concerns than men do, and, I always think about, like, "How's this gonna shape the future for my kids?" Um, most of us have so much information on our computers about our children or in emails, and I'm like, what could a tool like OpenClaw pull out about my kids?
Yeah.
Or, are there gonna be pictures of my children out on the internet because it veered the wrong way?
Right.
Right? And so we think about that level, but I saw someone post the other day about how, like, OpenClaw, for anybody of my friends and family, if you received that email this morning updating you about whatever, that was all OpenClaw. And I'm like, why would I want AI to write an email to my friends and family? Like, those are probably the only people I want to be writing emails to. But I think you're right. I think it's that different perspective where we are just, like, more about connection, right? And we're very, I think most women are heart-centered, not that men
Yes.
aren't, but, like, it's always at the forefront.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I
that's
think that's so
where,
true.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's got pendulum is always real big, and I think I love that you're doing a survey about that, and it made me think too, like, Anna AI would be such a good tool for you to go into,
Oh
like,
my
a
gosh.
group
Yes.
of AI women, because I guarantee you could find a group that's, like, women who AI probably actually you
Mhm.
should make the group.
Yes.
But I bet you if you were to run an analysis in that group, those are the sentiments that would pop up. Fear around children, taking over sensitive information, that sort of stuff. I
Mhm.
bet you would have like the most insane insights. But I love as a woman that those are the things they're asking about because those are the things that are on my heart. And
Mhm.
I think that everybody else is just talking about like, how do I, quit this thing and do it and replace and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, that's not where a lot of us are feeling, and I think that if you especially, right, are leading the charge on, like, that human piece and, the discernment and stuff, you're gonna get the people who agree and that are like, "Okay, God, I'm so glad somebody said it because nobody else is."
Yeah. And I think also I was thinking about this yesterday. Stella, my daughter's basketball banquet, right, is Sunday. And the coach is like, "Hey, we have 150-ish awards, different types of awards. Can you help me?" And I'm like, "Sure." Of course, I don't have time to make 150 awards, right? But I also want the girls to get awards, which is like, my husband's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "'Cause I don't think they're going to get awards if I don't just raise my
Yeah.
hand." Right? So, I went into Claude. I'm like, "It's good, I got it." I went into Claude Codework, hooked it up with Canva, I, like, gave it the list, I was like, "Here's the template," and I went and got an adjustment, I was, like, able to cook dinner, right? Like, all while it was doing these things, and I was thinking, when we talk about automation, we see so much about automation, regardless of the tool, and it's really about, like, now you can go make money, I see a lot of, "Now you can do this to go make money. Now you can
Yeah.
do go get more clients," and I'm like, "I did it for self-care." Like, I did it so I could get my back adjusted and so that I could actually cook dinner for my kids with, instead
Yes.
of saying, "Sorry, we're doing pizza because mom's gotta type in 75 more awards," right? And so I think that's the other thing behind the automation and the purpose. Like, I imagine when you're thinking about, like, all the time that Anna saves you, it's not so that you can go make more money, it's so that you can drop your kids off at a practice, right?
Right.
Or
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, like, our heart is service, and so it's like, how can I serve my family, my husband, my children, my client, my everything, right? Without losing yourself and getting sick and all of these things, and, Yeah. I like when you were talking, like it actually was making me emotional listening to you talk about so you could, be with your kid.
Mhm.
It's still like gonna make me cry. I don't think enough people are talking about what you're saying. And I think that, I hope that that's the message that people are hearing from you all the time and like really understand that you are the person that's like, this is why we need to do AI, not just for these things that only men are bringing to the table. And to be fair, of course, caveat, yes, there are men doing great things as well. But we're talking about the amazingness of women. So let's just go.
Yeah, so what do you think why do you think there aren't as many women that are taking a seat at the table? Like, what do you think is actually stopping most women from having these conversations that we're having and being willing to put them on social media where everybody, including men, are gonna see it?
I think maybe it's like, am I good enough? Imposter syndrome. Oh, and somebody else is already doing it. Why do I need to do it? I don't know. I think there's probably a lot of different reasons. It's odd and it's hard for me to put myself in their shoes because I don't have that bone in my body. I don't think you do either. We're like, why wouldn't I? Like, we're completely unfiltered. Like, of course that's you know what I mean? Like, it's so weird. I don't know what we got there. I'm like, I actually feel the opposite. Like I'm emboldened to be like, oh no, that's my seat. What are you doing? Get out of it. Like, do you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the really cool thing too. Like when I've gone to these events, like I went to a really big SaaS event in a coaching program that I was in, and there were very few women. And it was really incredible because even when we were sitting at the table, like, and listening to the other men in the SaaS, our company was so much more further along and more successful than these men. And I am not anti-man, I'm not any of that, but in my head, I was like, "Mhm, mhm." My husband laughs all the time because my mom, as we grew up, I don't know if you remember Bernstein Bears, the
Yeah.
book.
Mhm.
He Bear, She Bear was the book she read to us all the time, and it was like, "If he can do it, you can do it."
Uh,
And we really heard that message. Like, my mom jokes all the time, like, because both my sister and I have kind of done crazy things in our lives. And, she's like, damn, that book really worked. Like, I don't know that I meant to go that crazy, but like, we do just have this feeling like, of course we can do this,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it makes me sad that a lot of women don't feel that, right? Or maybe weren't given those, little nods of confidence to be like, of course you can do whatever you want. But it is
Yeah.
a little bit of like a weird, I don't know if arrogance is the right word, but I'm like, I'll just do it. And if it doesn't work, that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it because I would imagine at some point when you were thinking about creating GroupTrack or ANA, you may have thought like, there's probably somebody else that's thinking about this or right? Like, so you probably do have that little I think it's natural to be like, what is someone else doing it? Is there
Yeah.
something already out there? But I also think it's just the just letting go of the fear. Like
Yes.
it's maybe more of that, so what?
Uh, pre-
You
yep.
know, not being afraid to fall on our face and just being like, it's fine. Like I'll get up and it's not gonna be a big a deal. And so maybe it's more fear based than it is around or the fact that we just don't care.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. So my definition of success with everything and is this what God wanted me to do? Like that is how I gauge everything in my life. And so every single day I say to myself, are you willing to get your feet wet today? And what I mean by that is like you could take that first step and it's very possible the sea's going to part and the promised land is right there and you just walk to it.
Mhm.
But if you're sitting on shore all day being like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can swim or whatever." And so you never even put your toe in, you're just like, it could be right there. And so every day I just say, get your feet wet because, and there have been many times, like to be very clear, I have failed a lot in group track. Like I mean, we lost $400,000 in 1 year because of something that happened. Like there have been days where I've been in the fetal position thinking like, oh, I'm a fraud. This is the worst. Like, it is not just all good and happiness and no fear and no imposter syndrome. Like that is going to be so normal. But every single day, I'm like, did you get your feet wet today? Did you try? Did you do something to move forward and just test? Because you can figure out, oh, I just need a life raft today, or I need a little bit of swimming lessons or whatever. But there are many times where the sea does part and you could just literally walk right over there and grab what you need to get. So I do think that is a big piece to give credit where that confidence comes from. And it's okay to fail because not everything is going to work. It's just part of it.
Yeah. I love that, and that was gonna kinda be my closing question is, like, for all the women that are, that are watching this, that are like, "Maybe I'm not gonna build a SaaS platform, but I do want to take a bigger role when it comes to AI. I do wanna be part of history being made." I think anybody using AI is part of history being made, because everything's changing. And if we're a part of the conversation, if we're a part of using it, if we're a part of how it's learning, we are a part of history. But for the women that are raising their hand that are like, what if I wanted to do more? What would you tell them?
Do it. I don't what's that book, Kelly? It's like fire, aim what is it? Fire, shoot, aim or something? I don't even know. Isn't that funny? I don't even know the name. I don't even know the order because most people like aim, think, and then finally shoot, right?
Mhm.
Anyways, the whole book is to say, like, just do it. You know what I mean? And I know that sounds like for a lot of people, like, oh, Jenna, I'm not wired that way. But I
Mhm.
think if you can just do it anyways, like, right, it's that whole thing, like, do it scared. Um, like, what's on the other side of it could be so incredible. And there is no other time in history where we have been, number one, women given opportunities or paving them ourselves and have so much access to opportunity that we have.
Mhm.
But then also add in AI, and that does give us the ability to fill in some gaps that maybe we don't own in our own personality or skill set to like just go do things. And so, I think number one, community, which this is like the greatest thing I think what you've cultivated here is
Mhm.
showing other women, like, wait, look, Kelly's doing it and she's supporting other women. And it's about, collaboration over competition and, all of those things. So I would say find your community of people that are going to lift you up, join in on what Kelly's bringing forward. But then again, just, do it scared because you have a whole crew of women that are here supporting you.
Yeah, and I think that's key. I mean, I definitely know that anytime I think of anything, whether it's around an in-person event like you and I were talking about, or running another summit, or bringing something new, I go to my fellow women. It's you, it's Molly, it's Cassie Brown, it's Liana Ling, it's people in the community where there's that safety net where I know nobody's gonna be like, why would you do that? Like, that is so stupid, right? Everyone's gonna be like, "How can we make this work? How can we help?" And that really
Yeah.
is this around the community. I know that is really the culture that you've created inside of your businesses. You certainly have people on your team, I think, that follow that with everybody that comes in to using GroupTrack or ANA. There is no, "You're dumb because you didn't watch the video. How would you mean you don't know how to get started?" Like, you guys are really you've done a really good job. I know because I have reached out to your team enough where I'm always like, "Okay, don't kill me," but
Yeah.
everyone's always more than willing to be like, "Let me just lock elbows with you and let's figure out together." And I think it's that safety that we need among women, especially as we forge ahead together, kind of in the AI space.
I don't know why, like, this whole conversation's making me so emotional. This is not expected, but like, I really think that there's just, and people are struggling and there's a lot of really hard stuff. And when you find people that believe in you and love you and trust you and, will be there when you need them, it's so priceless. And I think the community you're creating is what people need. It really is.
Yeah. And same with tools like yours that are very heart-centered, that are not about how can I put another dollar, but really about like how can I help people? And I think knowing that, there's a female behind it, like you said, and the intentionality around why do I want to help people make more money? Why do I want to help people easily follow up on their leads? Why do I wanna help people save time through research? There's that like-mindedness of like we said, so that they can, yes, so that they can make money, but also so they can take their family on vacation. They have time to take vacation. They're not working on vacation. They can go get a freaking pedicure, right? Instead of feeling like they have to write 100 emails. And I think that's what also just makes what you've created special, and just the whole vibe around everything that you create. So if you haven't checked out Jenna's group track, Anna, we will be posting it. Connect with her. She just does such a great job with tools that, like I said, are one of its kind. I've never seen anything that you've created that I've seen out there before, which I want to give you kudos to, because I think that um, I think that takes more courage to actually say, I'm going to do something that nobody else has done before versus I'm going to do something that is like something else. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Women Who AI podcast. If this conversation gave you something, a spark, a strategy, or just a reminder that you belong in this space, share it with a woman in your life who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe wherever you listen, leave us a review, and most importantly, come find us inside the Women Who AI community. I'm Kelley Tenny, and I'll see you in the front row. That is already out there, so that is pretty ballsy, I think.
Kind of alive. It's freaking hard, but it's amazing, right? When the sea parts, it's amazing. So
Yeah, yeah, amazing. All right, well, thank you, Jenna, for being here with us today.